Dr. D. How you doing today?
Today is a wonderful day, a good day. This is your 5 minutes with Dr. D. Are you living in fear? Has fear been weaponized in your life? Do you see the effects of fear being weaponized? You say, fear being weaponized. Well, what does that mean? Well, how is fear weaponized? Fear is weaponized to deliver a message to control you, to control your way of thinking. So many times when you're living under that kind of fear, it's a fear of darkness, you don't always really understand that. What do I mean by that? Well, today you see a lot of fear happening where people are being terrorized. So now when you go out, like for example, to a concert, there's the fear that maybe someone can use a gun, a weapon, and shoot several people. That's so effective in terms of terrorizing people. When someone talks about, are you going to lose your job? Or there's a caravan of people which has been in the news, and it's almost, they use the term invasion. And that invasion, just that terminology, makes people afraid, because when you think of the word, you're being invaded, that means your space, things are being affecting you. You feel the threat. Speaking of which, let me define fear for you. What is fear? What is the definition of fear? I want you to hear the definition, because it can help you understand how then fear is weaponized. Fear, the definition is an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief, and I want you to listen to that word, caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain, or is a threat, a way of making you afraid of someone or something, likely to be dangerous, painful, or threatening. So if I want to weaponize fear, what do I have to call into your consciousness? I have to call into your consciousness a time when you were very afraid. And do you remember when you were a child and you first felt fear, or someone told you, hey, don't go down into the basement, don't go into that dark room, or you saw a movie and you were sitting there, and all of a sudden, as you're sitting there watching it, something without the music, the timing, they show you the character going down the dark room. For example, I just saw a movie called It. There were several levels of layers of fear that while you're sitting there, it catches your attention. So we are very aware of darkness, meaning a dark room, a dark situation, a dark alley. These are all things that originate with primary levels of fear. I want you to think about that, and then wonder about how has that fear of the unknown, the threat of something being dangerous, then is used now to weaponize and control you, so that if you are truly afraid, you're not going to come outside. You're not going to go down that alley. If that fear is weaponized well enough, you're going to try to think of tactics to avoid that fear. An invasion of people coming across that they are going to be dangerous people, and these are the words that are being used. These people are dangerous. They're coming to rape and pillage and hurt your lifestyle. So naturally, you develop a fear towards that. Now, I want you to think about that, because that level of fear can lead to very lethal consequences. If someone is sitting at home and somebody is controlling them by making them feel that level of fear, that level of being afraid, they might take a natural defense mechanism is, how am I going to protect myself? You need to understand that many of the fears that you have can be unrealistic, meaning you haven't checked them to see if they make sense, right? At times, I'm afraid to get on an airplane, but I'm not so afraid that going on a vacation or going to some place that I truly enjoy, because then I think about what is the likelihood that this particular fear is going to manifest itself. So many of the fears that you have, when you look them up, they're very unlikely to occur. Is it unlikely that people are going to be coming across the border in droves and taking your lifestyle away? The answer to that is no. But if I make you feel that way, that your life is going to be threatened by this massive invasion, then you can become truly afraid. What I want you to do is understand that fear unchecked, fear where you don't look at the original understanding of it, that's a fear that's unchecked, can make you so afraid that you don't live life, so that you are not free. Recognize the fear that's out there, real fear. Recognize your own fear. And when you learn how to face your fear, and again, you have to check fear out with real facts. When someone tells you to be afraid, you have to understand, why are they telling you that? Are they telling you that to control your mind? Are they using fear in a way to weaponize and control you, to manipulate you so that they can get things, make you behave in certain ways that benefit them? So once you recognize your fear, you can learn how to manage it. And once you learn how to manage your fear and not be manipulated by someone or something or situation that's being weaponized in order to keep you afraid, to keep you in the dark so that you don't live your best life. I'm going to examine this with you even further to give you a sense of what I think is going on in this country and why you have to combat these fears in order to live well. And it involves things that you can do physically. It involves things that you must do. You must read. You must check the facts. You must see what is going on. And then you can take active steps in your community, in your family, to deal with your fears. I want to leave you with a quote that I read that I found to be very helpful in understanding and in dealing with fear. I read a quote by Mark Twain that said, and I like the term that he used. He said, courage is resistance to fear. So part of our human condition is to learn how to resist fears that debilitate, isolate, and keep us in the darkness. We have to have courage to step out of that fear. So courage is resistance to fear. Mastery of fear. So we have to learn to master our fear, to face it head on. Because that will allow us to be free. This has been my 5 minutes, or a little bit over 5 minutes with Dr. D. There's been a lot in the news, and I want you to think about it. And this is a platform where to share these ideas so that you can live and be free and not be manipulated by the fear and the levels of fear being weaponized against you. This has been my 5 minutes.
Thank you, Dr. D. It's always okay to go over when we're talking about such an important topic. And I definitely agree with you that courage and freedom is the opposite direction of fear and darkness. Thank you, Dr. D.